Chapter 6, Small and Medium Enterprises. In short, we call them SMEs. In this chapter, we are going to learn characteristics of SMEs. We should know the importance of SMEs to the local economy. That means Hong Kong, 6.3. We should also know the importance of entrepreneurship in the business development. First of all, we should know the meaning of SMEs. SMEs are companies which are independently owned and operated, are not dominant in their field of operation. We look at these two examples. For small offices and for small shops selling small stuffs, we know that they are usually owned by a small number of owners. Maybe they are operated by sole owners or partners or a limited number of owners, or what we call shareholders in private company, the firms of private limited companies. But you should know that because of its small size, they are not dominant in the field of operation. That means the market share is very, very small in the whole market. Now we come to the major characteristics of SMEs. First, the staff size is very small. For manufacturing business, the staff size is less than 100 people. For a non-manufacturing business, such as retailing, wholesaling, or service industries, the staff size is less than 50 people. Remember these two figures, 100 and 50. Remember these two types of firms. One is called manufacturing firms, another non-manufacturing firms. Remember, non-manufacturing means those firms which do not produce goods or products, but maybe such business has pay much concern on service industry. Second, SMEs are owned by single individuals. They are typically sole proprietorships. They may also be partnerships or small private limited companies. Remember, limited companies can be classified into private and public. The number of owners for a private limited company ranges from 1 shareholder to 50 shareholders. For public limited company, of course, the minimum number of shareholder for a public limited company is 1, but there is no limit for a public limited company. So usually SMEs may be small private limited companies. Maybe the shareholders ranges from the number of shareholders range from 1 to 4, 1 to 5, even 1 to 10. It rarely finds that the number of shareholders can be as high as 50, 60, 70, because when there are so many shareholders who own the company, this may lead to conflicts on disagreement, so SME cannot be run properly. Number 3, SMEs are operated and managed by the owner. Since the managers of small businesses are typically the owners, they are in a position to make business decisions. As a contrast from SMEs to public limited companies, which are usually managed by a board of directors. There is a special characteristic for public limited companies is that there is a separation of ownership and management. Do you remember in the chapter of forms of ownership? We should know that the ownership and management in a big business such as public limited companies, example, Hong Kong Bank, Cafe de Coral, all these are listed companies. They have shares in the stock market. The owners are the shareholders of these companies, but such shareholders may not be able to manage the business. because of the lack of skills or the number of shares they are holding is only very small. So remember, going back to SMEs, because they usually operate the business and manage the companies. The owners of the SMEs will make the decisions themselves. Because of the small size of SMEs, the capital is very limited when compared to the amount required by big companies. Again, because of its small size and limited capital, SMEs cannot operate in overseas market. So the operations are only limited to local areas in Hong Kong. So what we call the operations are localized, and the operation are mainly operated in Hong Kong only. Okay, let us look at this multiple choice question. Which of the statements about SMEs are incorrect? Okay, when doing this type of questions, we should first put tick or cross when it is correct or it is wrong, so that when we see that the answers are wrong, we circle the answers. Okay, first one, a travel agency which employs 55 staff is an SMEs. Do you remember I've told you that you should remember two figures? One is 100 people, second 50 people. Another types of firms called manufacturing firms and non-manufacturing firms. So you should match. For a manufacturing firm, the number should be 50 of 100. I repeat, for a manufacturing firm, the number should be 150 people. The answer is 100 people because for manufacturing firms such as a factory, there should be a greater number of employees to produce a product, right? So you should check this. First of all, a travel agency is a manufacturing or non-manufacturing firm because travel agency is a service providing firm. It is a non-manufacturing firm, so the number is 50. So if this agency employs 55 staff, it should not be a SME. Understand? Okay, number two, in Hong Kong, SMEs engage in tertiary production only. Okay, the keyword is only. For those PowerPoints before, we have not mentioned the types of production. That means we have not mentioned SME should engage in primary production, secondary production, or tertiary production. That means SMEs can have businesses in all those types of production. So number two is wrong. Okay. Number three, SMEs earn less profits than a multinational corporations in general. Okay, another keyword is in general. Although SMEs, okay, let's give an example. Okay, there is a stationery shop in Shanted Estate called Tin Yin Dim. Okay, even though this type of firm may make a profit, can we tell that the amount of profit for Tin Yin Dim, okay, this stationery shop, must be greater than, let's take an example, McDonald's, because McDonald's is a multinational corporation, which have a lot of branches around the world. Okay, of course, the answer is wrong, right? Even though some shops or some McDonald's operating in some areas around the world may be operating at a loss. In general, the profit made by McDonald's or around the world, on average or in general, must be greater than the profit made by that stationery shop. So number three is wrong. Okay, sorry, is correct because in general, SMEs earn less profits. Okay, the answer is 1 and 2. Okay, let's have a revision on the major characteristics of an SME. First one, the size is small. Second, the ownership is independent. Number three, the operation and management is independent as well. Number four, the capital is limited. Number five, the operations are localized in Hong Kong, as an example. Mm, okay. Okay, let's come to the advantages of SMEs. Okay, you should know the differences between characteristics and advantages and disadvantages. The characteristics may cover both advantages and disadvantages. I repeat, characteristics is a broad sense which cover both advantages and disadvantages. Let's say, for example, we are talking about a characteristic of a boy. Say, for example, there is a suspect who has stolen something from a shop at 7-Eleven. When the policeman asks you about the characteristic of that boy, if you are the witness, you may give some very specific and which is particular to that boy, right? You should not tell the policeman that the boy has eyes, nose, ears, wearing clothes. Okay, so and so. Okay. Also, you should mention some characteristics, such as the boy has a broken arm. Okay. Uh, the boy, the hair is very, very short, with some bald areas on top of the hair, a head, so and so, right? So the characteristics may be good or bad to that boy. Okay, once we are talking about characteristics, we should know that uh, it is asking you to give both advantages and disadvantages, which are particular that SME. Okay, number one, flexibility in management. A small business is more flexible in responding to the complex changing environment. It adapts to changes easily. You may imagine that SME is like a mouse, which can run fast, adapt to changes. You can hardly catch a mouse without a tool. Such a mouse, the responsive mouse is very flexible. You can this as a for memory. Number two, innovation and initiative. The owner manager has to have ideas and or insights on a unique and unusual way of doing things in order to survive in a market with keen competition. First of all, the keywords here is keen competition. You should know that such a small business are facing keen competition. Is facing keen competition from many big firms. For example, a small shop selling daily stuffs may be facing keen competition from a packaging shop, welcome shop, and so and so. The owner of this shop has to do a lot of things, has to adapt to the changing environment or this competitive environment by doing a lot of things in order to survive. So the owners should have a good innovation and initiative to survive. For a SME, the owner is willing to work in a narrow market. Because such market may be profitable for those SMEs, although the amount of profit may not be too great, but it can keep the SMEs to survive. Let us look at this. It can survive by selling daily foodstuffs to those packages, right? Because of the small size of SMEs, the relationship between the employees and customers and the owners are very close. This makes it possible to better serve the specific needs of the customers to respond to their suggestions and complaints. Remember, the manager usually manage the business. They are always in the shop. They can hear the suggestions and complaints made by the customers. So in order to survive, the owners will respond quickly in order to serve the specific needs of these customers. Again, the relationship between employees and employers is close in small businesses. This promotes face-to-face communication because the owners are always in the shop. They'll interact with the employees every time. It is promotes a face-to-face communication between them. Number 5, low overhead expense. You should know the meaning of overhead expenses. They are the operating costs of a business, such as the salary of staff specialists, for example, lawyers and accountants. Because the business is very small in scale, they do not need to pay a lot to lawyers and accountants to deal with the daily affairs of the business. It is different from the operating cost of a package shop or McDonald's. SMEs are able to avoid excessive overhead. Overhead means operating costs. So if you are the owner, you should try to avoid not to pay too much for the overhead costs. Number 6, direct impact of management. The effect of management actions on the overall performance of the company is more direct than in a large company. As you know, if you are the shareholders of a public limited, which is a very large company like the Hong Kong Bank, and as well, you are a member of the board of directors, you can hardly go over the whole business and visit the branches, Hong Kong Bank branches all the time. So the management actions is not direct for Hong Kong Bank, which is a large company. But if you are the owner of a small scale, small and medium enterprise, because of the size, there are only a limited number of branches. So you may visit the branches and see how each branch is operating daily. So the effective management actions is more direct than in a large company. Management can take quicker and more effective action to improve company performance. It means that because of the direct effect of management actions, when you see any problems in any one branch, you will take quicker action, effective action in order to improve and remedy the situation. But there are also disadvantages of SMEs. First one, inadequate management ability. Because of small size, if you are the owner, may not be able to manage the firm effectively because you may not know all the things, all the knowledge, all the skills. You are not all-round manager, right? So the failure of SMEs is often attributed to a lack of all-round management ability and experience in the phases of the business. Of course, we are talking about capital. There are difficulties in assessing capital. Number one, SMEs have very limited access to banks and other institutional loans. Because of the size of SMEs and SMEs cannot easily provide collateral or mortgage to banks in order to get loans. Usually, even though banks are willing to lend to SMEs, the amount of such loans may not be great enough for the SMEs to develop or set up more branches in short period of time. Second, small businesses also find it hard to obtain long-term financing. Because long-term financing involves risk. Even though SMEs are able to pay expenses, interest expenses, in 1 year of time or 2 years of time, there may be chances of failures of SMEs in the months or years to come. So usually banks are not willing to lend long-term loans to SMEs. Number three, high labor turnover. The reasons for high labor turnover include low wages, very simple, lack of future prospects, because the number of branches or organization, no structures not tall enough for them to promote to the higher level. Because of the lack of future prospect, most employees, if they see opportunities in the companies outside or in other places, they'll go away. Number three, lack of employee benefits. Of course, SMEs cannot make great profit and distribute a bigger bonus at the end of the year. Number four, the insecurity of small business. Failures of SMEs is higher than the chances of failure of a big company. So the employees will feel insecure. Number four, poor competitive position. Small business generally have limited information about changing environmental conditions. Nowadays, the information competition is so intense that if you are able to obtain information as early as possible and as accurately as possible, you may gain competitive advantage. But for a small business, the owners are not able to pay more to obtain information. So this information may be about suppliers, about government regulations, market trends, and new technologies. But for a big company, they may be specialists who may give advice on these kinds of experts. Number five, lack of economies of scale. It is about when a company grows bigger in size, the average cost of production will be reduced. Okay, let us look at it. Small businesses typically produce few units. It is difficult to achieve economies of scale. This results in a higher average cost. It's just like a U-shaped curve. That means if the production is high, you will be on the left side of the U shape. Okay, at the end of the U shape, that means the average cost is higher for fewer units of production. Okay, examination drill, multiple choice. Which of the following is not a problem faced by SMEs? Okay, first of all, one by one. A, they lack the division of labor within the business due to the size of the company. Keyword is size. Of course, it is correct. The size is not big enough, but does not mean that SMEs cannot practice division of labor. Of course not, right? There are still a number of employees who may be in different positions practicing division of labor. So for A, it is not a problem. For B, they earn less revenue due to a low variety of products. Does it mean that SMEs produce a low variety of products, earn less revenue? Remember, if a company provides a wide variety of products, or you may say diversify these products, that means, say, for example, when producing a certain kind of toy, if you try to make it more attractive, you may produce this toy in different number of different colors. Say, for example, this you may produce the toy in red color, another the same kind of toy in yellow color, in purple color. But remember, the cost of production will be higher because you have to buy a number more different kinds of color dyes to dye the toy, right? So the operation cost may be higher. So SMEs are not able to obtain enough capital or finances to provide a wide variety of products. This is correct. But does it mean that SMEs earn less because of this? The answer is no. Because a wide variety of products is positive, right? But the revenue may not be higher because of a higher production cost as well. So if there's a sales may increase, but it's accompanied by an increase in production cost, the net profits cannot be increased. Okay, now B is not correct because SMEs may earn more profit due to a low variety of products. Okay, for C, they face unfavorable terms compared to large corporations. Corporations means companies when obtaining loans from the bank. This is correct, right? Banks are not willing to make bigger amount of loans to SMEs. D, they are vulnerable to changes in the external environment. It is correct because the information obtained by SMEs is limited. Okay, let us look at the case. Trend of upper floor shops. Look at this. It's called 銅鑼灣書店. It is a books shop, which is situated in the upper floor shops. Let us think. Why do some entrepreneurs choose upper floor shops for their businesses? Entrepreneurs, you're going to learn it in later PowerPoint. Entrepreneurs are those people who are willing to take risk, do business. Okay, just like you say, someone who create a business. Why? Why? Say for example, if you are one of the entrepreneurs, why do you set up your business in upper floors? The answer is simple, right? Rent is very high. Rent is very high in Hong Kong. Number two, industrial buildings also provide spaces for them as factories relocated to China. That means because of the high rental costs, many factories have already moved to China. It left a lot of vacant space for such kind of shops to establish. Do you know that some companies operate war games, another restaurants, okay, furniture shops, and so and so. Okay, number two, upper floor shops are usually popular with which type of business ownership? Which type of business ownership? You are asked about sole proprietorship, partnership, private limited company, public limited company, so and so. Okay, the answer is easy. Okay, sole proprietorship or partnership, or some small private limited companies. Number three, what are the advantages and disadvantages of operating an upper floor shop? Advantages, very simple. Lower rent than the lower floor shop, and the space is more for them. But disadvantage is the customer flow is low because customers are not willing to walk upstairs. It is very uncomfortable for them to walk upstairs. What characteristics of SMEs do an upper floor shop fit? The answer should be including limited resources and operating funds. That means SMEs do not have much resource and are good enough of funds. Number two, it serves niche market or provides specialized goods and services. Niche market means narrow market, a very small market, which allows SMEs to survive. Or specialized goods. That specialized means a low variety of products. Number three, take initiative because the survival of the firm lies on the effort paid by the owners. Number four, high flexibility, just like a mouse. It is about adaptable to changing environment. Okay, let's come to 6.2, the importance of SMEs to the local economy, that means to Hong Kong. First one, you provide job opportunities. SMEs provide job opportunities and employ many unskilled workers and workers with lack of experience. The keywords are unskilled workers and unexperienced workers. Let us think of package shop. Package shop. The employees in the package shop, as you think, are usually low unskilled workers or unexperienced workers instead of skilled employees like accountants, engineers, architects, and so on. Right? B, introducing new products. SMEs introduce many new products, which raises competitiveness. Because when a big firm wants to launch a new product, it will go over a lot of hierarchies or levels of management and go over a lot of meetings before the new product can be launched to the market. But for SMEs like a mouse, can react to the market quickly. C, supporting large business. SMEs are complementary to large business. Complementary means a supporting, provide supportive effort to or service to large business. They support large businesses through the provision of goods and services. Let's think for selling mobile phones, Samsung. The producer of Samsung cannot operate its brand name shop in everywhere in Hong Kong. The Samsung mobile phones will be distributed to some small shops, which help to sell Samsung mobile phones, right? It means that SMEs is supporting large businesses such as Samsung mobile phone. D, keeping the economic system alive. Small businesses can help to keep the economic system alive. The keyword is alive. That means just like those mouses, SMEs are those mouses which run over the whole economy. Let's think, go over the classroom. You see, if you see a lot of mice, a lot of mice walking past you, what's your response? Of course, you will drum, right, and shout and yell, right? It seems that small business will react to changes and it will lead to competition to the large business. So small business, when they will take initiative to survive, they will make the economic system alive. With hard work and determination, a person can become a boss and earn a profit. You may know that you may become a boss. This pushes people to work harder and thus benefits the whole economy. That's why the Hong Kong government has encouraged a lot of teenagers to become bosses of their own, so that the whole Hong Kong economy will become more energetic and alive. E, fostering competition. To earn more profits, SMEs develop new products and improve existing products to suit customer demand. Okay, number one, decide whether the following statements are correct. A, an SME provides job opportunities. Correct? True or false? True. Right. In Hong Kong, the number of SMEs, the number of employees employed by SMEs in Hong Kong has been greater than the total number of employees employed by big businesses. So the contribution of SMEs are very great. B, SME's owner is also an employee of the company. Is it correct? Owner means employee. The answer is false. Remember, we are talking the SME's owner will also operate and manage the business. It does not mean that the owner is equal to the employee of the company. Okay, number 5, list 2 advantages of an SME in product development. We are talking about product development. We should not just give the looks directly. First of all, product development should include the word flexibility, include the concept of flexibility, and willing to take risks and involve new technologies. Okay, let's look at the case. Kearn Key is a grocery store located at the wet market in Tuen Mun. Man Kearn is the sole owner of the grocery. Man Kearn works in the shop and employs 2 neighbors as part-time staff. Kearn Key mainly sells well-known soft drinks, beers, ice creams, and canned food. Question. Explain how Kearn Key demonstrates the contribution of SMEs to the Hong Kong economy. First of all, you should come across notes and study all those points. But remember, when answering cases, you should not give all points directly. You should see which point matches this situation. Look at this. You see, part-time staff, it means job opportunities. Sells well-known soft drinks. Well-known soft drinks, that means a big business, right? That means a supportive role for big businesses. Okay. Let us look at the answer. Right? We read it correctly? Provides job opportunities, employs 2 neighbors as part-time staff. Second point. Secondly, they support. It supports large companies because it helps to distribute products of large-size food and beverage manufacturers. Remember, write down firstly, comma, complete sentences. Secondly, complete sentences. Okay, let's just go to the last part, 6.3. The importance of entrepreneurship in business environment. Entrepreneurs are people who combine inputs of natural resources, labor, and capital to produce goods or services for profits. Just like a hawker, a very famous example is hawkers. Hawkers are good examples of entrepreneurs because hawkers are people who combine inputs of natural resources. That means labor and capital. That means hawkers will invest the capital for buying stuff to be sold to students, to the others, right? So hawkers is a good example of entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are very important to foster innovation because they like to take initiative in business development because entrepreneurs try to react quickly and innovatively and take initiative to develop this business. Otherwise, they will not survive. So they are willing to turn new ideas into new products to provide more choices for customers. Well, entrepreneurs will foster positive competition because they're willing to take risk. They tend to adapt to new ideas and launch new products to develop their businesses. Because entrepreneurs see great competition between them and large businesses, they'll try to make their products different. So they tend to adapt to new ideas, to change a little bit of the products so that you can adapt to the changing environment or to meet the expectations of customers. This is what entrepreneurs would do and foster positive competition. Let's go on. The competition within the industry can foster entrepreneurs to provide better goods and services, which is favorable to customers and society. Entrepreneurs will also lead and organize production activities. Such kind of resources include labor, capital, natural resources, and so and so, what you have learned in economics. Okay, let us look at the case. Entertainment tycoon in Hong Kong, Alan Seaman. This is Lang Kwai Fong, okay? Very famous restaurants are selling alcohol. Number 1, explain the characteristics of entrepreneur that you can find in Alan Seaman. The detail of the case can be found in textbooks. We will not come across the details of the cases, but you may check it out one by one. First one, Alan has a strong desire to succeed. For entrepreneur, who has also strong desire to succeed. Allen decided to spend $32 million, a great amount of capital, okay, to purchase a building in Lan Kwai Fong after the success of the restaurant California. He see the chances and see the business opportunities in Lan Kwai Fong. Now he becomes the tycoon of Lan Kwai Fong now. He is willing to take risk because she is a foreigner. He moved to Hong Kong to start a garment trading business at the beginning. Number three, he was adaptive to new ideas. He has launched a development plan and added new activities to Ocean Park. He has been the chairman of Ocean Park, and he has given a lot of new ideas to Ocean Park to survive and make a big profit in the past years. Number two, as an entrepreneur, how did Allen contribute to Hong Kong? The contribution of entrepreneur to the local economy. Number one, foster competition, because he opened bars to satisfy business demand. Second, he organized production activities by renting the building for opening restaurants. Three, he also fostered innovation within the business because he has launched new development plans and added new activities and attractions to Ocean Park. Do you remember the Halloween festival in Ocean Park? We are talking about the risk. What kind of risk Allen faced? First one is called credit risk. Credit means if the customers are able to repay the debts. Credit, okay, that means credit card. That means once somebody has lent you money or granted some period of time for you to repay, but you are not able to repay on time, this is called credit risk. Second, interest rate risk. The interest expense may increase as banks raise the interest rate. In Hong Kong, because of the linked exchange rate system with the USA, if the USA increases interest, Hong Kong has to follow. Right now, you see there is a high chance of interest rate rise in the days to come. You see the interest expense will become higher. This may add to the operation cost of business when they have already made a lot of loans. See, exchange rate risk. The exchange rate between Hong Kong dollar and renminbi affect the cost of importing goods from China. You see, many foodstuffs and many imports mainly came from China. When renminbi, the exchange rate of renminbi have increased, that means renminbi has appreciated. It means we have to pay more amount of Hong Kong dollar to buy the same amount of renminbi. So if the exchange rate fluctuates, there is a higher risk for an entrepreneur to run a business. Number five, public policy risk. Once we are talking about public, it means the changes in government policy. If the government policy has changed, we have to face some risk. The Hong Kong government has added some terms for land developers to have some space for aged homes, for homes for aged. I mean, for the homes or for the aged. That means if you are the developer, you have to leave some space for those homes for the aged, which may not be profitable for them. So it is a kind of public policy risk for a land developer. Another one, liquidity risk. Liquidity means ability to turn into cash. For a business, cash is king. If you cannot get cash on time, you'll not be able to repay the debts. Especially short-term debts is very important because if banks call loans and you are not able to pay on time, the banks will you will declare bankrupt by the bank. That's the end of chapter 6.